looks like Democrats aren't the only ones looking to bring young men back into the fold. Disney is reportedly looking for ways to reach Gen Z also, men and boys. And according to a Variety report, they're looking to do it without the help of key franchises like the MCU and Star Wars. According to that report, Disney leadership is telling creatives to present brand new ideas and IPs to reach young men between the ages of 13 and 28. That report says that age demo is tough to reach because Gen Z young men are, quote, lonely, gaming-obsessed group who were hampered in their formative years by COVID-19 lockdowns.
Many fans and critics took to X in response to this report, highlighting that Disney itself may be responsible for young men losing interest in the movies. Filmmaker and entertainment influencer Chris Gore writes, Disney turning Star Wars and Marvel from a boy brand into a girl brand will prove to be the costliest decision in movie history. Hashtag make Marvel male again. About that, Lindsey. Other users backed him up, complaining that their favorite franchises were ruined by feminism, DEI, and wokeness.
But some say it's not just Gen Z, man. It's the whole generation who are ditching the mouse. I like Disney, with some others online complaining that the studio is too caught up in Gen X and millennial nostalgia. Look, well, as a millennial, I love them to be caught up in our nostalgia. I feel like I'm the only person watching TV, and I love that.
I am pro-millennial nostalgia. Yeah, we
agree. We align.
Totally good. I want everything to just be millennial nostalgia that reminds me of the 90s, the pinnacle of human civilization.
So here's what I think the problem is. I think in 2020, a lot of companies, after the incidents that were happening and the light that was shined on racism in the country and all the incidents after George Floyd, a lot of companies responded with this overzealous task they were going to undertake about how to change the company's culture from inside out. You know, simple things could have been done, like actually having people understand, little microaggressions in the workplace and things like that that should be eradicated. But instead, companies went the green mile and put disclaimers on every film. This represents racial stereotypes and all this stuff. And Disney became a place that you had to engage your kids and explain maybe what that disclaimer meant, or do all the stuff that maybe parents were not equipped or did not want to do. Rightfully so, right? They should have that choice. Now, I think some things were egregious. Like, as I become an adult and I show my kids stuff like Dumbo, which was created in 1941, I mean, they literally had a crow in that movie called Jim Crow. And that was before civil rights protection.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And that was before the freaking crow's name was Jim Crow. And that was before,
was the crow a bad guy?
But listen, the point is that was before civil rights protections were passed. So imagine coming out with a movie in 1941. You talk about idiots around a table making a good decision. You think it's good to mock the struggle of people of color who can't even drink out of the same water fountain and have this movie. Like, maybe Disney should just pull the movie off instead of putting a disclaimer, oh, this represents racial stereotypes. Like, okay, it wasn't a fine then, and it makes no sense right now. But trying to say, oh, we did too much and taking those disclaimers off, it's like, well, what's your solution to make sure that the people making the decisions in the room are not also laughing about racism or laughing about unkindness or laughing about ostracization or othering of cultures? Like, this is all stuff we need to work on. And a lot of times, because I've interviewed the head of Pixar and Disney for segments that we've done in the past, they talk about how they have now somebody hired who's from a nation where the movie represents. So let's say we're doing Moana, or let's say we're doing a remake of Aladdin. They hire somebody what the fake land is supposed to represent, to make sure that it's culturally appropriate and not, mocking citizens from that place in any way, which I think is good.
Yeah, I don't believe in the concept of cultural appropriation. I don't think you need someone from that culture to only tell the story. I think the bigger issue is, but it's related, is authenticity, or just having it fleshed out enough to feel real and not like it's not just surface level resembling something. So this matters for what I want to talk about. The two major Disney franchises are Star Wars and the Marvel Universe. The Marvel Universe is simpler. I honestly don't really think what's gone awry with the Marvel Universe has to do with wokeness or being too unfriendly to males or whatever. It's mostly just like there's been too much of it. I mean, the Marvel franchise was extremely successful, had a number of really good movies, and they've just kind of run out of ideas, and it's gotten a little too complicated in that now you have to be current on so many movies and so many shows. Also they introduced, the multiverse. So I think that actually, if I was to point to one huge mistake they've done, is now it's too much like, oh, well, there's another universe where Tony Stark's still alive, so what does the sacrifice of Tony Stark matter? It starts to get, they went too far in that regard. It has nothing really to do with wokeness.
It's like soap opera-esque when people used to die, but then they came back to life, and you're like, okay,
exactly. So it lowers the stakes, and it makes you less invested in what's happening. I think that's the problem. It's not really, wokeness or whatever. On the Disney side, that is where I will validate. If young dudes aren't into Disney anymore, I do think that is due to Kathleen Kennedy, the president of the Star Wars stuff. I won't, in our previous segment, I'll just say you probably know what demographic profile she fits. She has not overseen Star Wars in the greatest way, in my view. The new films are just terrible and speak to what we're discussing. Like, it's clearly they wanted more diversity, more blah, blah, blah. So, okay, a black stormtrooper, but then he has no story. Then there's nothing about it. Like, it's just surface level diversity. There's nothing. He doesn't do anything in the 3 movies. He has no story.
Here's the thing. Okay,
he has
this is the problem. Like, I don't understand.
It doesn't matter if he's black or white or anything else, because it doesn't matter for the character, because the character himself doesn't matter.
This is the issue. Like, remember, and I'm bringing up a recent thing, like Sex and the City when it was on. They lived in Manhattan and New York, and you barely saw any people of color. So then they overcorrected for the season, and they had a friend of one of every race in this new reboot, which is called And Just Like That.
In a way that also
in a way that's like also didn't feel authentic, right? Everybody's like, now everybody hangs out of every single race.
Didn't they make one of the main characters a lesbian?
Yes, so they gave you a little bit of variety on all things, and I was like, guys, if you could just be authentic in like the interactions, just talk to people, have maybe a writer's room that's more, this is why diversity matters, people who have different experiences, not just diversity of actual appearance, but literal experience. So you're like, when I lived in New York, this was happening, or this type of person was coming up to me, like, this always happens with like, who's in the room? I don't understand who's in the room telling you what's authentic to the experience, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's with Disney films, because I do think that there is a lack of representation when people want to see themselves. So like having characters that, could be more ambiguous in so many ways is fine. But I also think that it's maybe not ideal to try to just create a whole world that just emphasizes the fact that they're different than maybe the average characters that we've seen over decades. Just let them be. And then, be a little bit different, and that's fine.
If the identity makes them matters for the character and makes the character more interesting or fully developed in some way, that's great, and very few people object to that. Maybe some still do because they're just racist or something, but most people want, something just interesting or unique about the characters. They're doing, at Star Wars, they just did very surface level diversifying. And then they just
brought in the character, no
fleshed out in any way. I mean, all of the characters in those new movies are so bad.
And I think that's the point. Like the executives are just trying to appease and make sure that the audience sees themselves, but not in a real way that actually acknowledges the community. Like Black Panther did a great job at storytelling. The storytelling was full and fleshed out in that film.
Yes, because the diversity of or whatever the racial connotation mattered for the story.
Right. It was a story based on a fake Africa.
They created a fake country that was influenced by in Africa was influenced. What would it have been like if an alien technology was in this or whatever it was? So that was cool and it was unique. And then they didn't do that for the other. We should wrap, but. I just have to say it. If you want to appeal to the young male demographic, you need more like exploding cars.
Keep it basic. Get back to the basics.
You need pretty ladies. Star Wars.
What's Sydney Sweeney doing? She can get the young guys watching the show.
Break out the Leia bikini, if you remember that. Get that into your new Star Wars movies, and you will have a male audience again. These ideas are free. You could also
consulting job,
to write a new Star Wars movie. I've got lots of ideas, and they're better than Kathleen Kennedy's. Next up, a Ukrainian man suspected of masterminding the 2022 Nord Stream pipeline attack has been detained. We'll tell you more next.